All right, so a lot of you guys know that I've been spending a lot of time following these real estate gurus on YouTube like Graham Stephan and Meet Kevin. It was like about 2 years ago that I really started firmly following a lot of Meet Kevin's videos. With that, he always gave the advice that we should treat our primary residence as a ground zero for investing in real estate and learning how to get everything done. Well, I took his advice and this is what happened. I'm gonna show you exactly what we did to this property, which has been my family's home for about 2 years now. And along with what we did to the property to get it rent ready, I'm also gonna tell you whether or not we rented it at the end. So stick around to the end. Let's get this video started. All right, so we're gonna be doing a walkthrough of the property, but I want you to just keep in mind that a lot of the improvements that were made on this home were already done by the previous homeowner 2 years ago. And I will make sure to make a note as we go by, all right? But let's get started here with the outside first. To start off, you can see the grass, right? It's completely dead, but I'm not even completely worried about that just because the rest of the neighborhood also has a lot of dead grass, all right? We're all kind of suffering from the same thing here. And in Texas, it's really not that big a deal when you've got grass like this, just because we get 110-degree weather, all right? And I'm trying to get it watered, but it's really not a big deal to try and get your property rented out here. Next is this little front area right here with the rocks. The previous homeowners actually had a lot of plants growing out of here, and a lot of grass just started growing around the plants, and it looked like a jungle. So we decided to rip the plants out. We put these little fake plants, then we put these rocks and these retainer wall blocks here. This was something that we did to our house before we actually decided to rent our property out. So this was more on the costly side. Having known that we were going to decide to rent it out, I would have done something different around here, but I mean, needless to say, it looks pretty nice. It helps with the curb appeal of the house. Now, obviously, I also made a video on how I painted the siding over here on the side of the house, both on this side and on the opposite side of the house, because this was actually a different color than the siding over here. Another thing that I did to the side of the house here was actually put mortar. You can actually tell right there that the mortar is a different color than the original mortar of the brick. And that's because I went in and put this new mortar right here, and I didn't realize that it was a different color until it was too late. But I put that mortar in there because you could start seeing the mortar decaying around that area. And so I did that there, and I also did it at the very bottom right here. And I did that just because in case a lot of rain started hitting our home, there wouldn't be any protrusions for the water to get inside. Those are the three things that I kind of just did outside here in the front of the house for the curb appeal. The grass, again, I wasn't so worried about it just because a lot of the neighbors have the same type of grass. So let's go ahead and now get inside, and I'll do the rest of the walkthrough with you guys. Okay, so walking in, you got a nice pretty red door that the previous homeowners painted that color, which I totally love. I think that's really in right now. And as you walk in, you see obviously this luxury vinyl plank, which is also very in. The previous homeowners also installed that, which I think helps a lot with the overall appearance of the house inside. And so the flooring is something that I'm obviously really happy with. Had they not installed this, had it been a really awful flooring, I would have come in here and installed this flooring myself. Something that you're gonna see on the ceilings is that popcorn ceiling. I decided not to scrape it just because this house is a fairly small house. It's about 1,100 square feet. And so a house this small in Texas is not gonna rent for like a ton of money. It wasn't really worth it to get this popcorn scraped off of the ceiling. That's something that I think many people can live with. Well, once you start getting into like the higher end homes, obviously this ceiling is gonna have to go away. But for this type of home, I think it's completely fine. Something that we decided to do on this wall of the living room is paint the wall completely gray. But this wall used to be a different color. It was a very dark blue. It was like a navy blue, and it was like an accent wall to all of these other walls surrounding it. And so I think that that was something that really appealed to the previous homeowners, was having like a dark blue accent wall, but not to the masses. So we kind of painted it gray. We feel like that's kind of what's in right now. And then as you move yourself this way, you're gonna see that these shutters kind of stick out to you, because these shutters actually didn't come with the home. These shutters are actually very new. They're about 2 years old, And my wife and I decided to install them because we didn't think that we were gonna rent this house out. These are really nice high-end shutters. I know it helps with the appearance of the house, but I don't know how much of actual rent value I get for installing these type of things. But anyway, having known that we were gonna rent this house out, we might have just put like the 2-inch forward blinds. All right, and then this is the back door. And as you go through the back door, you're gonna see this very big backyard. You're gonna see this patio that the previous homeowner installed. I would not have installed something like this. It looked like it cost a pretty penny. So I would have just left this as is. But again, it pays off for the future tenant, right? You're gonna see a dog run right here. So that's gonna pay off as well for any future tenant that's gonna want a pet. You're gonna see that the fence is a little bit worn out, man, but it's still standing. And as long as it's still standing, then I'm okay with it. And I think future tenants will be okay with it as well. That back fence back there is a little newer. And then this fence again is a little more decayed, but it's still got life on it. So we're just gonna keep it for as long as we can. But again, I think this is a very big backyard, and Texans, especially Texans, love their space. So I know any tenant is gonna be really appreciative of this big backyard. But something interesting though about this corner over here is that there used to be a playhouse, but as you can see, there's like no grass right here because of where it used to be. And I had to unfortunately tear it down because it's gonna be a liability. You actually need to get insurance for a separate, like, disconnected building from the house, and I am not down to pay extra money on insurance just to have that playhouse there. That thing looked also a little dangerous, and it's definitely a liability. I don't want anybody tripping up in there and then me getting sued because I didn't have the proper insurance, or just having to deal with that. I just didn't want to deal with it at all, so I got rid of it. Now let's go back inside and we'll continue on to the dining room. The homeowners actually put these very nice industrial lights here. I think that's what you call them, industrial lights. It's a nice fixture. We really liked it. But as you move in towards the kitchen to the left here, I got a funny story. The homeowners decided to paint these cabinets, but what they decided to do was completely stop painting this side of the cabinets because they decided to sell the home, and they had left the original color of the cabinets. But we had to come in and color match these cabinets at the Home Depot, kind of color match the paint, and then paint these cabinets the same color. Now you can kind of tell that these cabinets are a little glossier because I don't think we color matched it the exact same. These are more flat, but that's okay. I think that it's not going to be a big deal when it comes to tenants. Now, a really cool thing also is that these cabinets had the very old hardware. It was like a old antique brass or gold that it had on there. And even with the new paint on these cabinets, the hardware made them look very old. So we actually found these nice brushed nickel plated knobs and hardware for cabinets on Let Go. That's an app where you can just kind of sell stuff. And we bought all of these knobs and hardware for $30, guys. So that was like, I don't know, I think like maybe 20 knobs in total. And we got them for 30 bucks, which I don't think is expensive at all. So I think doing stuff like that can help you save a pretty penny when you're renovating your home. And then as you move in this way, on this small little hallway, you get 2 rooms. And I'm gonna go into this room first. You can obviously tell that this is my daughter's room. And this is actually very interesting, okay? I want you guys to take note, because this wall used to be a different color. It used to be striped with purple, green, and pink all across the wall over here. And it obviously stated that this was a girl's room. But something that I talked to my wife about was that we were gonna have to paint this room, because if we're gonna rent out our house, we don't want to have a girl's room per se, because if the future tenants that are gonna be moving into this home have only boys, then that's going to present a problem, right? So we want to make sure that these rooms appeal to the masses, whether it's a girl's room or a boy's room. So we decided to go with that gray again, which is very in. And then as you move into this room, you're going to find out that this is actually where I normally shoot my videos. Okay, this is kind of like our little office. And also you're going to notice that the paint is gray. And then you're going to see this very different wall right here. And this wall obviously stands out in my videos. I actually really like it, and I think that right now it's very in, but this is not something that I installed. Again, this is something that the homeowner previously installed before we moved in. I'm not sure what his reasoning was behind it, but I'm gonna leave it up. I mean, it's not gonna make any sense to tear that down. And again, I think it looks fine. I think it'll appeal to tenants. All right, now something that is pretty much invisible now, but you could definitely notice before, was that there were bubbles on this carpet. So my wife and I had to actually rent out a tool from Home Depot, which is called a carpet stretcher. And we had to stretch out the carpet on both this room, and actually our master bedroom that's out on the other side of the hallway over here. And that's something that people aren't gonna notice now, but they would have definitely noticed if we had not done that. If you guys have like bubbles in the carpet or wrinkles in the carpet, it's because the carpet was not properly installed and it was not stretched. So make sure that if you guys have that and you want to rent out your property, that you get that carpet stretched. Make sure you do that, because the tool didn't really cost that much to rent out. I think that that is something that will keep maybe a future tenant from wanting to rent out the property, because it'll just scream like low quality. You know what I mean? So that is something that we really did take our time in doing. I think we took a whole weekend to learn how the carpet stretcher worked and to get the whole carpet stretched, cut, and put back into place. We also made a note to shampoo and clean all of the carpets. And so as we move further down the hallway, we're gonna see the guest bathroom, a utility closet, the hallway, and the master bedroom. So let's go ahead and switch this camera view here real quick. All right, so this is the hallway here. This is a utility closet. Something to note about, again, that is completely unbeknownst to the tenant, is that there was a very bad doorknob here. It was broken, and it was really hard to actually get into this utility closet. Well, I broke off that one, replaced it with a brand new one. This one costs about 25 bucks at the Home Depot. And I did this antique brass because that's the hardware around almost the whole house on the doors. And now you got a fully functioning door, and that's to be expected. I mean, that's what you need. So you got a utility closet here and a functioning door there. Voila. And in the guest bathroom, if you just turn right around, you're gonna walk in here and you're gonna see that everything is pretty nice in here. The previous homeowners decided to go with that kind of tile on the bathroom. You know, it might be a statement to some, and it might not appeal to the masses, but at least here in Texas, I found that most people are okay with this kind of tile and the color, and so I don't think it's a big deal. Again, I didn't put this myself. If I was to do something to the bathroom, I would have just made it look nice. I would have maybe kept the fiberglass that was on this bathroom, just to save myself some money. I would not have spent money on this. But something that I did do to this bathroom, it's something that is not going to be noticed by a lot of people, but this doorknob is actually the original doorknob, but it was completely broken. And I don't know if you can tell right here, you can still see I kind of messed up painting the door here. I actually put in wood filler on this door because it was actually cracked and broken, and then I sanded it, and then we painted the door. And then with that, it kind of made this door a lot more functional now. And it's not just kind of like slipping and turning everywhere. It's actually like in place, and it functions the way it should. Now, I did mention, right, that these doors are white and that I had actually painted them. We painted them white. And if you're gonna paint any wood, make sure that you paint it semi-gloss, because if you paint it flat, I think that you're gonna be able to see a lot of the dirt, and it's gonna be really hard to clean. So if it's semi-gloss, the dirt that comes off your hand and onto the door would be a lot easier to clean. But this used to be the actual original door color on all the doors. It was this kind of like old school brown, right? Or like the original wood color. And that's the color that it was on all of the doors around the house. So that's something that I also did. Okay, now you can ask yourself, why did I paint all the other doors white and the garage door not? Well, I guess you can kind of say that I got lazy. I didn't really see it as a big deal. I thought that it would be cool to actually have like a little accent door, if you will, so that they know that that's the door to the garage. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to justify it. But I really just got tired of painting doors. My goodness, it was just so tedious. So now as you walk into the master bedroom, you're gonna see also, again, that same theme of the gray wall, the white doors, the original hardware, And on this one, I also had to replace it. So this was another 25 bucks. And also on this carpet, there used to be wrinkles and bubbles on it. Now the carpet is actually stretched and there is no wrinkle anymore, but you can still kind of see that line from where it used to be. But it used to be a lot worse, and there used to be not just one wrinkle, but like 3 wrinkles right there, and then 2 other wrinkles over here. So it was just really bad, and I'm glad we got that done. Now as you come into the master bathroom, you're gonna see kind of like the same theme, light gray paint in the bathroom, different style of color on the tile for the bathtub, but again, I think that looks really nice, so it's not even a big deal. All right, so now that we're sitting down, I can talk about the financials, right? How much did I spend in getting it rent ready? It costed me around $500, and I'm gonna break that down, okay? So for the 5-gallon bucket of gray paint, it cost us about $120. And then the white paint that I used to paint all of the doors white, that cost me about $35. That was for a 1-gallon bucket. And then I also used a 1-gallon bucket to paint the other half of those cabinets that the previous homeowners didn't paint. So I spent about another $35 there. And then to rent out the carpet stretcher for about 2 days, because I think they do it for 4 hours or 1 whole day or 2 days. And I actually think we rented it out for a full 24 hours. So 1 day, it cost us $60 for that rental. Normally those carpet stretchers cost you about $500. So we definitely did the right thing in renting one out for 60 bucks for 1 day. And we were able to knock all of those out during those 24 hours. I think me and my wife ended up staying very late, and then my wife finished it off by staying up till 3 in the morning. So I really gotta thank her for her support. Thank you so much, babe. And then the paint for the siding, for the trim and the siding on both sides of the house to match the front and the back of the house, that cost me about 60 bucks for the paint. And then to replace those 2 broken doorknobs, that cost us about $60 in total for both those doorknobs. And then also to replace the kitchen cabinet hardware, that cost us 30 bucks on Let Go, which was, I think, a great deal. And then any miscellaneous stuff like the wood glue, sandpaper, caulking, the caulking gun, all of that stuff was around $50. So if you add all that up, it's around $440. And if you really just want to be conservative, go ahead and round it up to 500 bucks. Now, if you have some similar problems with your home, maybe your carpet needs stretching or maybe your walls need some painting, that's how much you're going to be looking at, guys. All right, now Kevin has suggested to treat your primary home like it's ground zero for your learning on real estate investing. And I have treated my home kind of like ground zero, right? I painted my walls and I did everything that I showed you through the walkthrough. And then I decided to call up a property manager and see what my home could rent for, and then try to put it on the market so that I can go ahead and get a lease agreement and send that over to my lender. And then that way my lender can have everything that they need so that I can qualify for that next house that I'm trying to buy and I'm already under contract for. Well, I gotta say, Kevin, your advice works, my man. My wife and I treated this like ground zero, and although the previous homeowners had already put this luxury vinyl plank and had made the bathrooms look really, really nice, there were still things that we needed to get done and treat as ground zero so that we can get future tenants in here. We hired that property manager. That manager came over, took pictures of the property the way it is now, the way that you see it, and put it up for rent on the market, on the MLS, on Zillow, on Trulia, on everywhere. You know, they have this thing where once they put it in the MLS, it goes everywhere. And because of that, we were able to get some bites. And by the very next day, we had some good quality tenants applying for our home, and we actually accepted one of their applications, and we now have a lease agreement with a future tenant that is going to be moving into this property next month. I cannot say how grateful I am to my wife who has supported me in this endeavor. And I gotta say thanks to my boy, me, Kevin, man, for real. He's really come through. I listened to a lot of videos starting out from Graham, and I learned a lot from him, and it helped me get that motivation to look into real estate investing. But Kevin just kind of pushed me forward. He kind of propelled me to really get this moving. And I've really been able to learn a lot. But really paying attention to everything he has said and trying to relate through his experiences, my wife and I have been able to get over the fear of investing in real estate, because man, it's a scary thing. You know, you're putting in all this time, you're putting in all this effort, And you're sacrificing, right? Because we've got 2 little kiddos right now that demand so much attention. And when we got to stay up after they're in bed to get all this done, you just kind of think in the back of your head like, man, this better work. And you have this fear like, who's even looking for a rental right now during this whole pandemic? Like, you have those doubts, like nobody's gonna want to rent your property, and much less for what you think it's gonna rent for. But really watching Meet Kevin's videos and being a part of his community in the course has really helped me to get over that fear, and it's helped my wife also to get over that fear. And now we're gonna rent this property for market value, $1,600 a month. My mortgage payment on this house is $1,200 a month, so we're gonna be cash flowing $400 a month. But then take away the 10% that we got to pay the property manager, we're going to be left with $240 of positive cash flow on this property. Now this property is on a 5.5% interest rate with an FHA loan. So you bet your butt that as soon as I move into that next house, I'm going to refinance this house and be able to qualify for some of those really low interest rates that we're having right now. And that's going to reduce my monthly payment, and that's going to increase my positive cash flow. Again, I've got nothing but good things to say about Meet Kevin and his course, because it's really been able to help me propel myself forward. I also really thank the YouTube community, because putting my experience out there for everyone to see is kind of like nerve-wracking, but to see the amount of support that I'm getting and the value that I hope I'm providing to everybody else is just kind of exhilarating for me, and it really helps me to continue to move forward and acquire more real estate. Stay tuned for more videos, because I'm going to be posting videos about how my next property is going to go. That next property that we're going to move into is a big fixer-upper. So I'm going to be showing you guys what you got to do to fix up the property, what's going to provide value to the property, and what is not. So what you should spend your money on and what you shouldn't, and how much all of that is going to cost in total. So stay tuned, you guys. Thank you again. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.